Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like life keeps making you wait? Wait for success, wait for love, wait for money, wait for the moment when everything finally changes. You work harder, pray longer, think more, struggle more, yet somehow the life you desire still feels just out of reach. And after a while, you begin to wonder if the universe has forgotten you. But what if I told you that the delay is not because your dream was denied? What if I told you the answer was never no? What if the universe already said why yes, and the only thing left is for you to believe it? Tonight, I want to share a truth that has the power to completely transform the way you see yourself, your future, and your reality. A truth that can end the struggle, silence the doubt, and awaken the power already living within you. Because the life you desire is not chasing you away, it is waiting for your acceptance. There is a powerful truth that most people never fully understand, and because they do not understand it, they spend their entire lives doubting themselves, doubting their dreams, and doubting the possibilities that are trying to unfold through them. That truth is this: your desire is not random. It is not meaningless. It is not something placed inside you to tease you or torture you. Your desire exists because the reality of it already exists somewhere beyond your current circumstances. The moment you became aware of the desire, the possibility of its fulfillment was already created. Think about that deeply. A person who has never seen light would never dream about colors. A person who has never experienced hunger would never desire food. Desire itself is evidence of connection, and in the same way, the dreams rising within your heart are signals pointing toward a reality that already exists for you. Yet most people look at their current conditions and immediately decide what is possible and what is impossible. They say, I want abundance, but I do not have enough money. I want success, but I have no opportunities. I want love, but nobody chooses me. They allow visible circumstances to become more real than the invisible vision living inside them. But the outer world is always slower than the inner world. Everything is created twice, first within consciousness, then within physical reality. Before a building is constructed, it exists in the mind of the architect. Before a song is heard by the world, it exists in the imagination of the musician. Before any great achievement appears outwardly, it first lives inwardly as an idea, a feeling, a vision, or a desire. So when a greater life keeps appearing in your imagination, you must stop treating it like fantasy and start recognizing it as spiritual evidence. Your desire is a preview of what life is trying to express through you. The problem is that people have been conditioned to worship evidence. They believe they can only trust what they already see. But if you only believe in what already exists, nothing new can ever enter your life. Every transformation begins by embracing something inwardly before it becomes visible outwardly. The people who change their lives are not necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They are the ones who dare to believe in the unseen long enough for it to appear. When you constantly doubt your desire, you create resistance. You begin sending mixed signals into your own mind. One moment you imagine a better future, and the next moment you destroy it with fear. You say, it could happen, then immediately whisper, but probably not for me. This inner conflict keeps people trapped in cycles of waiting and disappointment. You must understand that life responds to what you consistently accept as true. If you continue identifying with limitation, your world will continue reflecting limitation. But when you begin accepting your desire as something real and possible, your inner state changes. You begin thinking differently, speaking differently, and carrying yourself differently. You stop approaching life with desperation and start moving with expectation. Expectation is powerful because it changes your energy completely. Imagine planting a seed into the ground. After planting it, you do not dig it up every hour asking whether it is growing. You trust the unseen process taking place beneath the surface. In the same way, your desires require faith in the invisible before they become visible. The moment you plant the assumption that your dream is already unfolding, life begins reorganizing itself around that belief. Many people delay their own blessings because they keep looking for external permission. They wait for signs, approval, opportunities, or guarantees before they allow themselves to believe. But the real shift happens when you decide internally that your dream is valid before the world confirms it. Your imagination is not a mistake. Your longing for more is not weakness. The vision inside you is calling you toward expansion. Every great life begins with someone who refused to ignore what they felt within. You were not created to simply survive each day feeling powerless and disconnected from your own potential. The desires within you are invitations into a greater identity. They are asking you to rise beyond the person you have been and step into the person you are capable of becoming. So stop saying, maybe one day. Stop treating your dream like something distant and unreachable. Stop speaking about your future as though it belongs to somebody else. The moment the desire entered your heart, possibility entered with it. Your task is not to force life to say why yes. The why yes already exists. Your task is to align yourself with it emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The life you desire is not trying to hide from you. It is trying to awaken you. And the moment you finally understand that your desire is proof of its own existence, you will stop begging for permission to dream bigger. You will begin walking through life with a new sense of certainty, knowing that what you seek is already seeking you, and what you desire is already making its way into reality through the power of your belief. One of the greatest reasons people remain stuck in struggle is because they spend their entire lives chasing what they desire instead of assuming it already belongs to them. They chase success, chase love, chase money, chase opportunities, chase recognition, and even chase happiness itself. And the more they chase, the more distant these things seem to become. Why? Because chasing is rooted in the belief that something is outside of you. It silently declares, I do not have it yet. And when your inner state is constantly focused on not having, life continues reflecting the experience of lack. This is the hidden trap most people never recognize. When you feel desperate for something, your energy becomes heavy with fear, anxiety, and attachment. You begin checking the outer world constantly for proof. You look for signs every day. You wonder when things will happen. You compare your life to others. You worry about time passing. And all of this strengthens the assumption that your desire is still far away. But the moment you stop chasing and begin assuming, everything changes internally. Assuming does not mean pretending. It means accepting inwardly that what you desire is already possible, already available, and already unfolding for you, even if your eyes cannot yet see it. It is the quiet confidence of someone who no longer doubts the outcome. It is the calm certainty that says, I already know who I am, and I already know what belongs to me. Think about how differently you behave when you are certain about something. When you know a friend is coming to visit, you prepare for their arrival. You do not spend the entire day panicking about whether they exist. When you order something online and receive confirmation, you relax because you trust it is on the way. This same principle applies to life itself. Your assumptions shape your reality far more than your effort ever will. Most people have been taught that struggle is necessary for achievement. They believe they must force everything into existence through stress, pressure, and endless effort. But there is a difference between inspired action and fearful chasing. Fearful chasing comes from insecurity. Inspired action comes from inner certainty. A person who assumes abundance moves differently than a person who fears poverty. A person who assumes they are loved carries themselves differently than someone who feels rejected. A person who assumes success is inevitable speaks with confidence, makes decisions boldly, and remains steady even when temporary setbacks appear. The outer world always reflects the identity you accept internally. This is why two people can work equally hard yet experience completely different outcomes. One operates from fear and lack, the other operates from certainty and expectation. The energy behind the action matters. When your mind constantly says, "I must force this to happen, or I will lose," you create resistance within yourself. But when you move through life believing that what belongs to you cannot miss you, your entire emotional state changes. You stop begging, you stop overthinking, you stop needing constant validation, you stop feeling powerless. And this inner shift is where transformation truly begins. Many people delay their manifestations because they keep reacting emotionally to current circumstances. If they do not see immediate evidence, they lose faith. If one opportunity fails, they assume the entire dream is impossible. But reality is always catching up to your dominant assumptions. Temporary appearances do not define the final outcome unless you emotionally surrender to them. You must learn to remain faithful to the unseen. The seed beneath the soil does not look like a tree yet, but growth is already happening invisibly. In the same way, your desires may not yet appear physically, but movement is already taking place beneath the surface. The problem is that most people destroy their own progress by digging up the seed with doubt, impatience, and fear. To assume is to mentally and emotionally occupy the state of the person you desire to become. If you desire abundance, stop constantly identifying as someone who never has enough. If you desire love, stop repeating stories of rejection and loneliness. If you desire success, stop speaking like someone destined to fail. The identity you repeat becomes the reality you experience. Your inner conversations matter more than you realize. Every day, you are either reinforcing limitation or reinforcing possibility. When you wake up and say, "Nothing ever changes for me," you strengthen the very reality you wish to escape. But when you begin saying, "Everything is aligning in my favor," your mind slowly starts accepting a new truth. And once the mind accepts a new assumption consistently, the outer world begins reorganizing itself around it. This is why you must stop living like a beggar asking life for scraps. You are not separate from the power that creates reality. You were born with the ability to imagine, feel, and assume for a reason. Your consciousness is not passive. It is creative. The moment you stop chasing the future and start embodying the feeling of already having what you desire, you enter a completely different state of being. You become calmer, more confident, more magnetic, more peaceful. Opportunities begin appearing naturally. Ideas flow more easily. People respond differently to you because your energy changes first. Life does not respond only to what you want. It responds to who you believe you are. So stop running after your dream as though it is trying to escape you. Stop placing your power in circumstances, timelines, or the opinions of others. The reality you desire begins the moment you assume it is already yours internally. Because the truth is, what you continue chasing will always stay ahead of you. But what you confidently assume to be yours eventually becomes impossible to avoid. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, there is a conversation happening within you. Sometimes you notice it, and sometimes you do not. It is the silent voice commenting on your life, interpreting your experiences, and shaping the way you see yourself and the world around you. Most people believe their outer circumstances create their thoughts and feelings, but the deeper truth is that their inner conversations are constantly creating the circumstances they continue to experience. Your inner world is not passive, it is creative. The words you repeatedly whisper to yourself become the foundation of your reality. If your mind constantly repeats, "Life is hard," you begin experiencing life through the lens of struggle. If you repeatedly say, "Nothing ever works out for me," your mind searches for evidence to confirm that belief. If you secretly believe you are unworthy, invisible, unlucky, or powerless, those assumptions quietly shape the experiences, opportunities, and relationships that appear in your life. People often underestimate the power of what they say internally because the conversation is invisible. But invisible things are often the most powerful forces of all. You cannot see the wind, yet it moves entire oceans. You cannot see electricity, yet it lights entire cities. In the same way, your inner conversations carry creative power far beyond what most people realize. What you consistently tell yourself eventually becomes your identity, and your identity shapes your reality. This is why two people can experience the exact same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes. One person experiences rejection and tells themselves, "I am not good enough." Another person experiences rejection and says, "Something better is preparing for me." One inner conversation creates insecurity and defeat. The other creates confidence and persistence. The event itself is not the most powerful thing, the meaning assigned to it is. Most people are unconsciously speaking against the very life they desire. They say they want abundance, but internally they repeat thoughts of lack all day long. They say they want peace, but their mind is filled with fear and worry. They say they want love, but their inner dialogue constantly reminds them of past heartbreak and rejection. Then they wonder why life never changes. Life reflects your dominant inner state with remarkable accuracy. Your subconscious mind absorbs repeated thoughts and emotional patterns as truth, whether they are empowering or destructive. It does not argue with you, it accepts what you continually impress upon it. That is why negative inner conversations become dangerous when repeated for years. Eventually they no longer feel like thoughts, they feel like facts. A person who constantly says, "I always fail," begins expecting failure. An expectation changes behavior. They hesitate more, doubt themselves more, fear risks more. Their energy weakens before they even begin. On the other hand, a person who repeatedly says, "Everything is always working in my favor," develops a completely different emotional state. They move through life with confidence, resilience, and openness, because their inner dialogue supports them instead of attacking them. Your mind is always listening to the story you repeat. This is why you must become more aware of your mental conversations. Many people carefully watch what they say publicly, but completely ignore what they say privately within themselves. Yet the private conversation is the one shaping reality most powerfully. If you spend every day mentally arguing for your limitations, your world will continue proving you right. Notice how often people rehearse negative outcomes before they even happen. They imagine failure before success. They assume rejection before acceptance. They prepare for disappointment before possibility. Then when the unwanted outcome appears, they call it reality, never realizing they emotionally practiced it long before it arrived. The mind moves toward what is repeated most often. This is why conscious inner dialogue is so important. You cannot continue speaking weakness into yourself and expect to feel powerful. You cannot constantly affirm fear and expect to experience peace. Transformation begins the moment your inner voice changes. Imagine waking up every morning and internally declaring, "I am supported by life. Everything is unfolding perfectly for me. I deserve abundance, love, success, and peace. What belongs to me is already finding me." At first, the old mind may resist because it has been conditioned by years of limitation. But repetition creates belief, and belief eventually creates experience. Your inner conversation is like planting seeds into the soil of consciousness. Every repeated thought carries emotional energy, and over time those thoughts begin producing visible results. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, resentment, and failure, you cannot expect a harvest of joy and abundance. But if you consistently plant thoughts of confidence, gratitude, expectation, and worthiness, your outer world begins changing to match the new inner state. The beautiful truth is that you do not need permission from the world to begin changing your inner conversation. You can begin now, in this moment. You can stop speaking against yourself. You can stop identifying with old pain. You can stop repeating stories that keep you trapped in the past. The voice within you should become a voice of faith instead of fear. Speak to yourself as the person you desire to become. Encourage yourself. Empower yourself. Remind yourself daily that circumstances are temporary and possibilities are endless. Your future is not created only by actions. It is also shaped by the invisible conversations you entertain every day. Because eventually, your outer world will mirror the words you have been silently speaking within yourself all along. Most people spend their lives trying to change their reality through force, effort, and endless action. Yet they overlook the most powerful creative force within them, feeling. They believe that if they simply work harder, struggle longer, or think more logically, life will finally change. But true transformation does not begin on the outside. It begins within, and the bridge between imagination and reality is feeling. You can repeat positive words all day long, but if your emotional state remains rooted in fear, doubt, insecurity, and lack, the outer world continues reflecting those deeper feelings. Life responds not only to what you say, but to what you emotionally believe. Feeling is what gives power to thought. It is what impresses an idea onto the deeper mind and turns imagination into experience. This is why two people can say the exact same affirmation, yet receive completely different results. One says the words mechanically while internally feeling hopeless. The other says the words with conviction, belief, and emotional certainty. The feeling behind the words is what creates the difference. Your emotional state is constantly communicating with reality. Every day, people unknowingly rehearse feelings they do not want. They feel anxious about the future, guilty about the past, frustrated with the present, and then wonder why life keeps repeating the same painful cycles. The problem is not only what they think, it is what they emotionally live in. If you constantly feel defeated, life mirrors defeat. If you constantly feel unworthy, life reflects limitation. If you constantly feel unloved, disconnected experiences continue appearing. But when your emotional state changes, your entire reality begins shifting with it. Feeling is powerful because the mind cannot fully separate a deeply imagined emotional experience from a physical one. This is why your body reacts to a frightening dream even though it was not physically real. The emotions felt real, so the body responded accordingly. In the same way, when you consistently feel the emotions of your desired reality before it physically appears, you begin aligning yourself with that reality internally. Most people wait for the outer world to change before they allow themselves to feel successful, peaceful, loved, or abundant. But transformation works in the opposite direction. You must first become emotionally familiar with the reality you desire. You must practice feeling it now. If you desire abundance, begin feeling supported by life now. If you desire love, begin feeling worthy of love now. If you desire success, begin feeling confident and capable now. The emotional state comes first. The visible evidence follows later. This is where many people struggle, because they have been conditioned to react emotionally to appearances. If circumstances look negative, they immediately feel discouraged. If progress seems slow, they lose faith. If problems appear, they emotionally collapse into fear. But reacting emotionally to current conditions only keeps you connected to the same reality. You must learn to feel beyond appearances. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending difficulties do not exist. It means refusing to emotionally surrender your identity to temporary circumstances. It means choosing to remain connected to your vision internally even while the outer world is still catching up. Imagine an actor preparing for a role. Before stepping onto the stage, they mentally and emotionally enter the identity of the character they are about to play. They begin thinking, speaking, moving, and feeling like that person. In the same way, you must emotionally step into the identity of the person you wish to become. How would the successful version of you feel? How would the confident version of you walk through life? How would the fulfilled version of you think each day? When you repeatedly embody those feelings, you begin changing your internal state. And once the internal state changes consistently, the outer world eventually rearranges itself to match it. Your feelings are like magnets pulling experiences into alignment with your dominant emotional patterns. This is why gratitude is so transformative. A grateful person feels abundance even before receiving more, and that emotional state naturally attracts more experiences to appreciate. Meanwhile, a person who constantly feels deprived continues reinforcing the experience of lack. What you emotionally dwell in becomes your home. If your mind and heart constantly live in fear, fear becomes familiar. But if you begin dwelling emotionally in peace, confidence, joy, and expectation, those states slowly become natural to you. Over time, your reactions change, your decisions change, your energy changes, and because your energy changes, your experiences begin changing too. The beautiful thing about this truth is that it returns power back to you. You are no longer completely controlled by circumstances. You are not forced to wait for the world to decide your emotional state. you can begin cultivating the feelings of your desired life right now. Close your eyes and feel the relief of knowing everything is working out. Feel the joy of already being the person you dream of becoming. Feel the peace of trusting life instead of fearing it. Those feelings are not meaningless fantasies. They are creative forces shaping your future. The outer world may take time to reflect your inner transformation, but never mistake delay for failure. Reality is always responding to your dominant emotional state, even when you cannot yet see the evidence. Because, in the end, the greatest secret to transformation is not forcing reality to change. It is becoming internally aligned with the reality you wish to experience until your outer world has no choice but to mirror the feeling you have already accepted within yourself. One of the biggest illusions people have been taught is that struggle is the price of every good thing in life. From a young age, many are conditioned to believe that life must be difficult, success must be exhausting, and dreams can only be achieved through endless suffering. Because of this belief, people unknowingly become emotionally attached to struggle itself. They wear stress like a badge of honor. They believe worrying proves seriousness. They think forcing, chasing, and overworking are the only ways to make things happen. But there is a deeper truth that changes everything. The universe does not respond most powerfully to struggle. It responds to certainty. Struggle is often a sign of inner resistance. It is the emotional state of someone who believes they must force reality to cooperate. Certainty, on the other hand, is the calm confidence of someone who already knows things are unfolding in their favor. One energy is rooted in fear, the other is rooted in trust. Think about how differently a person behaves when they are certain compared to when they are doubtful. A doubtful person constantly worries about the outcome. They overthink every detail. They panic when things do not happen immediately. They look for validation everywhere. Their emotional state rises and falls based on temporary circumstances. But a certain person moves differently. Even before the results appear, they carry inner peace. They remain steady during delays. They do not emotionally collapse every time obstacles appear because they trust the bigger picture. Their confidence does not come from current evidence. It comes from inner knowing, and that inner knowing is powerful. The universe mirrors your dominant emotional state. If you constantly live in fear, desperation, and anxiety, you continue reinforcing the experience of struggle. But when you begin embodying certainty, life starts reflecting opportunities, alignment, and unexpected breakthroughs. This is why some people seem naturally magnetic. They are not always the most talented or the most fortunate. Often, they simply expect good things to happen. They assume life supports them. They move through the world with an energy of certainty rather than fear. And because of that inner expectation, they notice opportunities others overlook. They take action more confidently. They recover from setbacks more quickly. Their belief changes the way they experience reality. Most people are trying too hard because they do not trust enough. They are constantly asking, what if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? These thoughts create emotional tension within the mind and body. Instead of living from inspiration, they live from pressure. Instead of enjoying the journey, they become consumed by fear of the future. But fear blocks flow. You cannot fully receive while emotionally vibrating with panic and doubt. Imagine trying to hold water in tightly clenched fists. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. In the same way, Desperate attachment often pushes desired experiences further from you because your emotional state keeps affirming lack. Certainty relaxes the mind. It creates openness. It allows life to move naturally. This does not mean sitting still and doing nothing. Certainty is not laziness. It is inner alignment. It is taking action without fear controlling your spirit. It is moving toward your dreams while trusting that what belongs to you cannot be taken away. A person living in certainty understands that delays are not denials. Temporary obstacles do not shake them because they are connected to the vision internally. They understand that reality unfolds in stages, and they do not abandon belief simply because results are not immediate. Nature itself teaches this principle. A seed planted into the earth does not become a tree overnight. Yet the seed does not panic. It does not doubt its purpose, because growth is happening invisibly before it becomes visible. In the same way, your dreams may be developing beneath the surface, even when nothing seems to be changing outwardly. The problem is that many people give up during the invisible stage. They stop believing too soon. They return to fear too quickly. They allow temporary appearances to convince them that nothing is happening, but the universe responds to consistency of belief. When you remain emotionally steady despite appearances, you strengthen the reality you desire. Certainty also changes the way you speak to yourself. Instead of saying, "I hope things work out," you begin saying, "Everything is aligning perfectly." Instead of saying, "Maybe one day," you say, "It is already unfolding." Instead of identifying as someone struggling through life, you begin identifying as someone supported by life. And identity changes everything. The moment you stop seeing yourself as powerless, your entire relationship with reality shifts. You stop begging for opportunities and start expecting them. You stop fearing rejection and start trusting redirection. You stop measuring your worth through temporary conditions and begin recognizing your inner creative power. The truth is, life becomes lighter when certainty replaces struggle. Your mind becomes calmer. Your energy becomes clearer. Your actions become more inspired. You stop wasting emotional energy fighting against yourself. And perhaps most importantly, you begin understanding that the universe was never asking you to suffer endlessly to prove your worth. It was asking you to believe. Believe in the unseen before it becomes visible. Believe in your vision before the world confirms it. Believe in your future even when circumstances appear uncertain, because the universe does not respond most deeply to exhaustion, fear, or desperation. It responds to the quiet, unwavering certainty of a person who already knows that what they desire is not only possible, it is already on its way. So, as we come to the end of this message, remember this forever. Your struggle was never proof that your dream was impossible. It was only proof that you had forgotten your power. The universe is not against you. Life is not punishing you. Your desires are not accidents. Every vision placed within your heart came with the possibility of fulfillment. Stop asking as if you are unworthy. Stop waiting as if your future is uncertain. Stop speaking fear into a reality that is waiting for your confidence. From this moment forward, walk differently, think differently, feel differently. Wake up each day knowing that what you seek is already moving toward you. Carry yourself with the calm certainty of someone whose prayer has already been answered. Because the moment you truly accept the why yes within yourself, the outer world will have no choice but to reflect it. And one day you will look back at this version of yourself the worried version, the doubting version, the struggling version, and you will realize that the breakthrough began the moment you finally believed. The universe already said, "Why, yes." Now it is your turn to say, "Why, yes," to your own greatness. Thank you all for being here, for listening with an open mind and an open heart. I truly hope these words reminded you of the power, worth, and limitless potential already within you. If this message touched your soul even for a moment, then carry it with you long after today. Let it guide your thoughts, your feelings, and the story you tell yourself every single day. Thank you, and may your life be filled with peace, abundance, confidence, and the courage to believe that everything you desire is already on its way to you.